G'day, legends. Welcome back to Roadside, presented by Zwift. We are chatting the Vuelta today. It is the rest day currently as we speak. 9 stages have transpired, and we are going to recap and do a bit of a roundup of what's happened in the Tour of Spain so far. Tommy, the third Grand Tour. Oh, it's gripping. There's a lot of action. Jonas, the main star right now, but there are plenty of characters still to play, Tommy. How have you been enjoying it, mate?
Mate, been absolutely loving it. My favourite Grand Tour of the 3. I know that you're not a fan of that. I know you haven't even been checked into the Vuelta, mate. You're checked out. You're on holidays. You've packed up the media folder for the week. I've been good, mate. It's been good. I've been loving it. I really, really like it. I've been really liking this year's route where they've been going so far. So plenty more to come, though. Second week is going to be massive. And I dare say the riders, they just were gagging for this first lay day. So they're here, legs up. And then go again.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, they are. And plenty of storylines as well that we're going to unpack throughout this episode. The GC, of course, Jonas, Almeida, Team UAE, Pidcock, the sprinters, Mads with empty pockets at the moment. Plenty really to get into. But over the weekend, Tommy, yourself, yes. and our great mate, Patrick, the photographer extraordinaire, we were in the southwest of WA doing a little project for Cyclist Australia magazine. Can't tell too much what it is yet, but it was a good weekend, wasn't it? We were on the gravel bikes, you were on the grovel bike, and we were hitting the trails. It was magic, mate, wasn't it?
Hold up, let's rewind. You and Pat were doing a little bit of project. I've been roped in for a little bit of free help here. And, I brought the goodies down as well in terms of some clothing selection. For the project, but no, it was good. It was good. We're on the gravel, and I'm relatively fresh to the gravel. I'm not gonna lie. So to get down and do a little bit down and down up, I thought was it was actually stunned me a little bit how good it was down there, and I think it's made me realise how good Worlds in Nanup next year is actually going to be, particularly with even 7 as the sort of the precursor next year. It's just going to be a big festival.
That's right. And we did have a nice little coffee with Brendan, one of the co-owners of the 7 gravel race, in the morning down in Nanup. Just getting we did get the little, what did we get? We got the rolled out architecture of what the 2026 Gravel World Championships course will be, pending approvals, wasn't it? And we were out on there as well.
So good.
Yes,
I was taking a photo of it straight up on Reddit.
And unfortunately, I am now 1 wheel less because I did have we had a bit of a mishap out there. My rear wheel exploded, the old zip. The carbon just unfolded like Tommy's legs on the climbs, and it actually cut our ride short, wasn't it?
I saw you. We just were getting up and going as well, and I was going, oh, this is just a gravel utopia. I'm thoroughly enjoying this on my Grand Durance, straight out of the box. The Alex 32 rims, 38mm tyres. You're nipping around on these carbon hoops, and you've just ridden this wheel into a divot or something. And I thought you knew how to ride a bike anyway, mate. I thought you knew how to ride. I thought you were the gravel special king, and you're certainly special on gravel, aren't you?
I'm surprised you could see me. You were that far back, but that's okay. It was a good weekend, and keep an eye out for the Cyclist magazine. We'll let you know what's happening with that. Now, the Angliru stage, by the way, everyone, that is the real money shot. That's the Queen stage. It is one of those real mythical climbs in all of Grand Tour land, and it's coming up this Friday in the Vuelta. We will be doing our now infamous watch-along YouTube lives on that night. They are infamous. I mean, renowned, particularly in the Asian continent. We are just hot property there where they don't have the coverage. They tune into us, and we watch along and provide our own commentary. So make sure you tune in. I'll create the link and share it so you can get the notified thing when we come on. But on Vuelta, we're going to be on from 10:30 p.m, basically about 5 or 10 Ks before they hit the base of the Angliru, and you can watch along with us.
10 p.m. Now, on a Friday. Oh my god!
Mate, that's just as you come back from the pub, Tommy, isn't it? 10:30 p.m.
Oh, I would never.
Okay, so one other thing with the tourist. I'm managing
trying to land-blast my character here. Trying to tear it apart. No. Maybe I'll do the live from the pub.
Now I'm leaving it in. Now, just one more thing before we get started, everyone. With regards to the Tour of Spain and the Vuelta, we want to know how you guys are watching it. Let us know in the comments on YouTube, on Spotify as well. Put a comment or just send us a message on our Instagram page. How are you guys watching the Vuelta this year? Are you religiously watching every stage on the SBS, on your VPN with Eurosport or whoever you are, TNT Sports? Are you just catching the highlights next day, via YouTube or whatever platform, just social media, or just tuning in every now and again? Or are you just following the results and not even watching at all? Let us know how you are following it and how it may compare to you're following the Giro or the Tour de France, so to speak. We're really interested to know what your level of interest is in this year's Vuelta. So let us know in the comments, and let's get stuck in this episode, Tommy. This is Roadside, presented by Zwift.
Well, mate, it's been 9 stages. We've had 5 teams share the 9-stage victories. Jonas, Vingegaard, Jasper, Philipsen, they've been the riders who have doubled up, and we've obviously seen UAE. They have scalped 3 stages. They claimed the Triple T, and then Ayuso and Vine went on to win 2 summit finishes right after that on stages 6 and then 7. So it's been a massive Grand Tour. We've also had, the last chance saloon. That is the Vuelta, what it's known for, with David Gaudu, who chipped in on stage 3. He bounced back on form for him, and he sort of salvaged Groupama FDJ's season, so to speak. His first leader's jersey as well. He picked up the next day when Big Ben Turner broke through for Ineos in a very sloppy bunch sprint. So we've seen the big names. We've had a few sort of surprises as well at this year's Vuelta, which, mate, I just absolutely love.
Yeah, well, Ben Turner's an interesting one because he was a late call-up for this year's Vuelta a couple of days before. So that's got to be some sort of record. Called up 2 days before and he wins a stage, his very first Grand Tour stage win, only 4 or 5 days later. So well done to him. I have to say, David Gaudu, his victory after 9 stages is my favourite of this year's Vuelta, purely because of the way he did it. He pulled the pants down of Pedersen and Vingegaard in that finale. Pedersen got caught napping, and then Jonas Vingegaard left the door open, and Gaudu, a fantastic racing move, took that corner up the inside, gained 2 places, and there was obviously 50, 60 metres left to the finish line. And then Jonas, on the cool-down bike, on the cool-down ergo, he complained about Gaudu going up the inside because he left the door open like a big girl.
You love to rip into the Great Dane. Any chance you get, you just nitpick, don't you? You just complained about him. He was maybe propositioned there. They said, what do you think about David Gaudu going up the inside? And he would have said, it's not ideal, is it? But that's him. He's a competitor. Play off him.
Don't leave the door open and then bitch about it on the ergo. It was a great win, and I have to say, yes, I do hate on Jonas on occasion, but he's been really good so far. Some of his wins has been great. The one in the rain where he crashed and beat Ciccone in that uphill sprint was really good. But the big movement so far in that GC, one of the big stages that had a huge influence, was the team's time trial. Tommy, your favourite, and there were some very interesting results in there.
No, there certainly was. It was a good battle, even let alone for the stage victory. I'm a fan of this, the Triple T. Anybody who listens to this pod will know how much I love it. UAE, they took the chocolates. They averaged 56.85 kilometres. They averaged that. So it was a great ride by UAE to take the win. They took 10 seconds over a stack of sort of other teams. It was a really good ride by Visma, I thought, and it showed their strength as well because they went into it with a man down. They lost Zingel. So he would have been a key engine. And I reckon that would have been the stage victory for them, and they would have taken time out of UAE. The day was, though, Jayco, they were the big losers. They lost 45 seconds. And I thought the best solid ride, and this kept the man in the GC hunt, Tom Pidcock, Q36.5 were very good. They rode above and beyond where they were. Damien Howson, he marshalled the troops, the veteran Australian, and they were bloody good. And it put Jonas that day, that good ride by Visma as well, that put him back into the red jersey. They took it off the Frenchman, Gaudu. And he's obviously relinquished that later on. But that was sort of the precursor for the first GC block, where then stages 6 and 7, we went into the Pyrenees and going through Andorra. Not much. We've seen GC action across these two stages, mate, but we haven't really seen any time taken over the big GC rivals. We obviously saw Vine. He claimed his third stage victory at the Vuelta, and the second for UAE. It was a good climb as well where it finished, mate, up at Pal, right up behind La Massana in Andorra. Done a little bit of skiing around there. Hard climb, and I was really surprised that there weren't time gaps. Really, genuinely surprised. Just had to squeeze that in.
But you would be the shittest ski. I'm just imagining you just French frying it up. No, I mean, one thing.
You put you in the bin. Anyway, you carry on.
You're right about there just being little chips being sort of, sewn off on the GC. No big haymakers. I think the narrative was throughout the week that everyone's waiting for the Angleroo, and probably the parkour hasn't really lent to any major haymakers just yet. But I did like, and I do like, the current leader of the race, who we must mention, the Norwegian from Bahrain, Victorious, who... Let's face it, they're certainly not Bahrain victorious anymore. In fact, they never were. But this rider here, I'm looking at his pro cycling stats. Torstein Klein, he's a Norwegian. He's 30 years old. I don't think he has one pro victory to his name. It was a stage of the Tour de Suisse last year. He's having a fantastic Vuelta and leading the race for multiple days. That's something that's really, really special and good for this rider too.
Yeah, absolutely. But also his backstory. He suffered testicular cancer about a year or so ago. He's come back from that. And actually earlier this year, he had a really big concussion. So he's on the couch for about 4 or 5 weeks, just, being immobile while sort of the concussion symptoms, went away, so to speak. So, yeah, he's downplayed it all. Very Scandinavian-esque in his sort of interviews post-stage. Very just a casual demeanour, which I like. And he's still got the jersey into the rest day, and having the jersey on a rest day, you just get so much more attention, so much media profile for the team, for himself. It's a big thing for his career, and I'm really pleased to see it. He was able to hold on stage 7, that second summit finish where we saw Juan Ayuso win the stage. The whole sort of GC group, they sort of just they were ridden up this climb. There were a few attacks, but the road surface and the climbs, it was just so fast. Everyone was sort of sitting in, and they could lean on maybe the super teams to try and, or the big GC riders sort of stared each other down, so to speak. Stage 9, though. Stage 9, this was the day, mate, that was touted as a day for almost Mads Pedersen or Giulio Ciccone, that sort of day. Yeah. And we've seen the biggest GC gap emerge on this day, where it finished up to a Station de Ski Villa de Carre, which is it's like an average of 5% at 12 kilometers this climb. So not steep, not that hard. Jonas Vingegaard, he lit it up 10 kilometers out, asked Matteo Jorgensen to just lead him out basically on the steepest part at the bottom of the climb, and just launched him. And he went on, tighten the screws, and it was all hell breaking loose behind, with UAE scrambling, weren't they?
Well, I was actually surprised the gap, only 24 seconds. We know, like you said, it wasn't a super climb. And Jonas himself, I think he said that he was actually surprised at how long there was left in the stage on this climb. He thought he made an error, but to only take 24 seconds on Pidcock and Almeida, in that group, it's a good win. But, you'd think a peak Jonas would take a lot more than that. I did like some of the.
Oh, there it is, the little chip. I like it. That's another.
Well, it's true. 24 seconds on Pidcock and on Almeida is a big one.
The gap did come back to 9 seconds at one point. So Almeida, literally, this is how good a form Almeida is in at the moment. He rode a group of GC favourites, the best of the rest, so to speak, off his wheel on just 5% gradients. So he was doing 35 clicks up it. So he was humming. The only good thing Jonas had about this attack, obviously taking the time at the end, but was the fact that it was sort of mano a mano for a large portion. Jay Vine, he did a kilometre once Vingegaard went, and then Almeida was isolated, and he just had to ride, and he took the onus upon himself as well, which was really interesting to see. So mate, there's some big issues. We'll get into it later on as well, but it was pretty fascinating as well to see Pidcock sit on Almeida's wheel for that last 5K, and he couldn't give him a turn. He was hanging by a thread, just like you on the weekend.
My man Almeida was asking if Pidcock's got any nurries to pull a turn. He said, "Got any?" He goes, "You're going to have bigger balls to give me a turn." But I think Pidcock was absolutely pinned, and then he did a real classic C-grade Masters move by out sprinting him on the line as well after getting towed along. Just
he did say that. I think that's why he's not universally liked. I think amongst the ranks, you do that sort of stuff. You're not going to win any favors, are you, when you're caught on the crosswinds one day and the cars are going past you? So, no, it was also interesting. Almeida in his post-race cool down, he sort of he mentioned pretty bluntly. He said, "Yeah, my team were nowhere today, so to speak." So he said it. So it would be a very awkward time around the dinner table for a team that's had the most success at this year's Vuelta. To sort of, I don't know.
We'll talk about that after the next break. We will.
Yeah,
Ayuso 157th on the stage, so he was definitely getting into the paella before the stage was finished. The current top 10 GC as of the first rest day. Torsten Train from Bahrain Victoria still holds the jersey 37 seconds to Jonas Vingegaard. Then we have Almeida 1 minute 15 back, so about 45 seconds from Vingegaard. Pidcock is 20 seconds back from Almeida. Then it is Gol, Ciccone, Fortunato, Jorgensen, Big Talk, No Walk, Jorgensen, Hindley, Bernal, Pellizzari, Soler, all around the 2 minute 50 mark and all in play. That's the top 10 as it stands. The sprint jersey owned by Pedersen, the polka dot by the ultimate teammate Jay Vine. White is Pellizzari, and those three jerseys mean absolutely nothing in the cycling world. The sprint, poker, and white. I wouldn't
mellow bitter man. You bitter man. I would take a sprint. I would take say that to the illustrious career of Michael Stoner, who, the West Australian. Yeah, he's got a Com jersey from the World Cup. You think that means
that jersey would be in the bottom drawer, mate, under about 10 pairs of Grundies. Easily, mate.
Put yourself in that drawer. Honestly, cycling's a hard enough sport. You lose more than you win. You got to have something to get up on the podium, mate. At the end of the day, don't you?
You do. That's right. You got to get up the podium for something. And I'm still dark about my chance to present a white leaders jersey for the best young rider at the Tour Down Under 2023 when I got terribly sick after cooking myself too much, making great podcasts for everyone who listens. And I couldn't present the jersey to Magnus Sheffield at the Tour Down Under on stage 4. Really devastated about that, but I'm sure, like me, he would have put that jersey in the toilet. Tommy, speaking of Zwift.
I'm relieved for Magnus. You wouldn't have to shake your hand on the stage.
Speaking of Zwift, who, great segue, were the sponsor of the Zwift Young Riders jersey at the Tour Down Under. Tommy, you've been doing some intervals on Zwift, on your new Zwift Ride. I wanted to know, as a fairly new Zwifter, level 1 noob, what is your favorite feature so far that you've used on Zwift?
For so many years, I've always just jumped on the erg and you kind of think about what you've got to do and you've got to hit lap. To actually be able to build the workout and how easy it is to Zwift, and to build it and to set the FTP, set how long it is. I thought that was just so good. The pure simplicity of it. I was really impressed. The ease of access. Like, end of the day, you're either doing your erg either side of work hours, jumping on Zwift. You want to just make it so simple. If you're on your lunch, you can think, I'm just going to do this and I'm going to do this tonight when I get home, and to be able to pump that in and take 2 seconds. So it's ready there while when you get home or before you get up in the morning, so to speak. That was really, really impressive. So, mate, they've made getting fit easy.
Yeah, they have. And the workout builder has been there for a long, long time. It's been one of the very first sort of features that that stuck around. Yes, by the way, FE Sports, who sell the Zwift Ride, if you want to buy one, the Magene Power Meter pedals. I know I said we're going to make a real giveaway, but I've been busy. I've been busy breaking wheels and
them, haven't
That's
you?
what I've been doing. No. I'll get to them and we will give them away. But after this, we're going to go into the big talking points of the Vuelta. We've also got a special segment over on the other side of this. So looking forward to that, Tommy. He's going to get grilled. He's got his free mantle scarf on. This is Roadside presented.
Purple Haze.
So, Tommy, I've got a little treat for you. We've got a new segment that we're launching. This is the Zwift Pick and Stick segment. All you have to do, I'm just reading out a couple of options. You've just got to choose one or the other. And, of course, the listeners as well. They can play at home. But first, we need the music to set the scene. Right,
wow,
Tommy.
You've had a busy day, haven't you, putting this one together?
Tommy, Vuelta stage win or Giro stage win?
Well done.
You are out of your mind. Well, okay, next one. Vuelta top 10 or Paris-Nice top 3 on GC?
Vuelta top 10. Vuelta. It's a grand tour. There's only 3 of them. There's so many seats to go around to those other races.
Milan San Remo or Vuelta GC victory?
Oh, Vuelta GC victory. Oh, mate, without a shadow of a doubt. Why? Well, you would go, MSR? Of course you would. You just want the photo of you on the promenade. You'd probably Photoshop yourself in next to our
Okay. Vuelta Queen stage, top 3 on the stage, or the elite men's criterium title at the Perth Nationals in 2020.
The Queen stage, they're a bigger bonus for it. You'd have a few more spondoolies rolling in, wouldn't you? Look, don't get me wrong, you wouldn't buy a beer for the rest of the year while you're the crit champion, but the crit jersey only goes so far, doesn't it?
Okay. Vuelta GC victory or Olympic bronze?
Vuelta GC victory.
Ooh, okay. Olympic bronze or a pint of shelter lager?
Shelter lager.
Nobody wants Olympic bronze. Okay, that was pick and stick. A little bit rusty. It was the first time doing the segment, Tommy, but we will be back with more of those. So if you want to contribute to the Zwift pick and stick, you can send in a list that we can read out and we'll call out your name and you can be outed for joining in the pick and stick. But we will get into our talking points now.
You just devalue the Vuelta. You think the Vuelta is worth nothing.
There's more people watching Letters and Numbers on SBS at 4:30 in the afternoon than there is watching the Vuelta, I would say, Tommy. But our big talking points, right? Our big talking points. We've had 5 teams share the top 9 stage victories so far. But the GC battle is, of course, what is starting to bubble, what is starting to simmer. And Vingegaard and Visma Lease Bike are in full control, aren't they?
Yeah, no, they certainly are. They really haven't used any of their resources, have they, mate? You know, they've been pretty upfront in turning around to the media and saying, no, we're going to let other teams ride. They've relinquished control of the red, which I think is a massive benefit for them because they were down one rider with Zingle, who, to be honest, would have done a lot of that legwork. So Visma are in just full control, taking another 30 seconds last night. How does Almeida get back in his race? Like, he's got to have just a great day on the Angliru, doesn't he? And hope that Jonas cracks, which, quite frankly, you can't see that happening. He's one of the best, top 3, if not the second best Grand Tour rider of this generation.
Yes, well, I think with Almeida, the gap isn't still huge between them. So, and the gap at the end of some of Jonas's stage wins hasn't also been huge as well. So it's not as if it's an absolute foregone conclusion. He's been chipping away, but he has not broke the dam wall by any means. And I think, which leads us to our next point, I think what Almeida have done that's let themselves down is they've lost the opportunity to use Vine and to use Ayuso as GC threats. We can see Jorgensen's inside the top 10 on that 250 mark with another 5 or 6 riders, which can be really useful as another key. It doesn't really make sense for Jonas, but for the contenders who are trying to find a way to beat Jonas, you need to use your teammates. Having someone like Ayuso close on GC would have made Almeida's bid to try and challenge Vingegaard just a little bit more dynamic. And I feel like that is something they've just thrown away for nothing. And that is the big story here with UAE, is they just cannot work together as a team. And we said this in our preview, Tommy. We said in the preview, Ayuso and Almeida are not going to pull a turn for each other. Never, ever. And then we see Jay Vine. He's obviously got freedom to chase his own stage wins, and pulling 1 kilometre turns is about all he can do.
Yeah, and Vine as well, with the fact that he's in the hunt for the polka dot jersey. He, the best thing for the team would be for him to relinquish that, because now he might just go, I want another breakaway on a big mountain stage, pick up all the points, win the stage again if he can. It's a shit show at UAE, put it that way. Like, it honestly is. They've got sort of Mark Soler they're leaning on heavily. But if they can't figure out that at the dinner table quickly with Ayuso, Vine, it's going to be a real issue really quickly. And Ayuso as well, you just keep hearing these murmurs. They're just talking, and I think Scrognamali from La Gazzetta dello Sport, he is reporting, or sort of, publicising a little bit the fact that Ayuso is maybe in talks with Lidl Trek. This bloke from La Gazzetta dello Sport, he's kind of, I don't know how you would say, the Tom Morris of the cycling world.
When he posts something, it's 95% correct, and very much like Daniel Benson. You only really trust
the other one.
Yeah, if it comes from Giro Scotomilio. And, you mentioned there's rumblings, of course, of Ayuso moving. We talked about Movistar being in the mix. I think Lidl Trek are going to blow them out of the water money-wise. But on the rest day, I'm getting rumours sent through to me today that UAE, the riders are not riding together on this rest day. They're not riding together. They're all going off in different groups.
That's not abnormal. That's not abnormal.
I know, but I just think it's not in harmony. Ayuso's not riding, with Almeida to the bakery to get a Portuguese tart. They're certainly not sitting next to each other on the bus.
That's not abnormal, because the riders want to respect sleeping patterns. So the riders will try.
They're not friends in it.
Hold up. No, mate. If they want to sleep in a little bit longer, one wants to go out, do their ride, see family as well, see friends during the rest day, have a coffee. That's what a lot of them do. And particularly a lot of the riders, if they do or don't have media duties, that all just wants to get structured around how they can rest more adequately. So that's not unnormal, particularly with, say, leaders in the team, or those 3 guys at UAE we've spoken about. They would all be on different programs for the day. So, yeah, I'm not surprised to hear that. And obviously, they're not good mates. So piss off, mate. I don't want to ride with you, so don't worry about it.
But it's going to hurt them, this disharmony in the team. And I feel like Almeida, as good as he is, and I think we're going to see him at the Angliru. He's very close to Jonas, 24 seconds on a big stage. It's going to be very close on the Angliru. He needs the team behind him, and he doesn't, and he won't, as long as they're chasing their own personal goals. And that's going to hinder their chances. Now, one person who does have the team fully behind him is Tom Pidcock. He's got Q36.5. They pulled a big shift and a hoolie on the team's time trial, and Pidcock catapulted himself up the rankings on stage 9. I think he moved up 7 places into 4th place, just 58 seconds behind Vingegaard, with a big performance.
Yeah, wow. I'll eat the humble pie. I laughed at him talking up his chances riding this Vuelta with GC. Can he top 3? I think that's the question. How far can he go with this? Do you think he has the capacity? I clearly don't know. I don't have the barometer for this, because what we saw at the Giro, he was coming off a classics campaign where he was getting shipped around a fair bit. Doug Ryder, the director at Q36.5, wanted the big name of Pidcock at all the one-day races. You want to get those invites again next year. So at least if he goes there, then they might get it again next year, and then he doesn't need to go there, so to speak. So it's interesting. He's obviously had a really good run into this program, into this Vuelta. So how far do you think he can go?
Well, can he top three? He definitely can now that Ayuso is out of the GC picture. When you just look at who's left really in that
I
GC
don't know if he
mix who
can.
won't fall away, because you've got Hindley, you've got we know Jorgensen won't, he'll fall apart. Ciccone, definitely a contender. Felix Gall is a great climber, but he is obviously a liability on some other stages. And of course, Almeida
Oh,
will
hold up. He
certainly
was
be.
fifth at the tour, and he's got
Yeah,
a
but
very
I
good
mean,
team
like,
around him.
he's a great rider, Felix Goff, a great climber, but I'm saying just on the punchy stuff, he can be taken advantage of.
Hmm.
Pidcock definitely has a chance at the top three, and we just haven't seen him. We've only seen his one-day power. We saw the one-day power on his famous Alpe d'Huez stage. We've seen his one-day power, in one-day races, but can he continue this and the way he's going, into the second and third week of a Grand Tour? We're yet to see it. And the Angliru stage on Friday, this will show us, can he do it after 2 weeks of racing, and does he have this will probably give him what he's probably waiting for, those answers too in himself. He probably doesn't know, can I even do this? He'll find out on Friday.
Yeah, we'll all get the answers. I don't think he can. Moving day is Angliru. Who moves up? Who has a blinder? Who rides themselves into contention?
Well, the cards will be shuffled, and we talked about it on the weekend, didn't we? We were chatting about Jai Hindley whilst
Oh, I don't know. We talked a lot of
whilst you were
crap on the
half
weekend,
wheeling
didn't we?
me. Well, you were half wheeling me for about 3.5 hours. So,
I just couldn't ride
we
200 watts. It's too slow.
well, I was running 500 with two flats. Now, we talked about being in the third week as a GC rider. You just want to be in contention in that third week or before the Queen stage. And Hindley is one who I think is in that position. He's 249 or 253 back on GC, but 220 on. He's a minute 20 off the podium. And I think on the Angliru, which is a much longer climb, it's going to be a 50-minute climb, second, third weekish portion of the Vuelta. Hindley is one who I think can catapult up into that top four at this race, Tommy. But what about you?
Yeah, look, I'm going to back Egan Bernal. I think he is not necessarily due for a good day out, but he's been there or thereabouts, sort of maybe the last man to sort of drop out of maybe the top trio when it got lit up on that stage up to Pal in Andorra. He was one of the riders sort of sniffing around. And I think when it comes to just riding their own tempo, if they shelled or on, sort of the whole race just gets thrown into TT mode up La Angliru, I think he's going well enough that his stock will sort of move up. So, and I'd like to see it as well. We had a good Giro, but I'd like to see him have a better Vuelta.
Yeah, I think that's a good call.
Mm.
The sprinters, Tom, before we get to the sprinters,
Yes.
let us know, everyone, if you're watching or listening,
Yeah, good call.
who's going to make that big move onto the top three. We know Jonas is going to be there. We know Almeida is going to be there. But who else can jump up onto that podium after a tough second and third week in the Vuelta? Put it in the comments on Spotify, YouTube, or send us a message on our Instagram page. The sprints have been dominated by Jasper Philipsen. He is definitely putting himself in the realm of one of the best sprinters of the modern generation. Stage 1 and 9, he's got the red jersey, and the real big surprise so far, stages 1 and 8, by the way, the big surprise, Tommy, is Mads Pedersen. His pockets are empty. They're full with cash, cold hard cash, but they are empty with stages.
Yeah, they are. He was close when Gadu won. He just didn't have the zap in the legs. It's fascinating. He came off ripping the Tour of Denmark apart. He's come in with obviously the climbing legs that's needed to garner points throughout the stages, but he's been a miss in the bunch of kicks. Normally he's pretty bullish in the peloton, but he just hasn't been there. So it's been really fascinating, and I'd like to know why as well. They've got a good team there. They've got like Hula there as well. So there's some big units that are there to support him, but it hasn't worked out for the Great Dane yet. So, and I say yet because I think he's getting better. I think he's the sort of rider who, he will snag a stage and he'll take the green.
Yeah, well, I think Pedersen, he's a Grand Tour expert. So let's watch his space. And I'm sure he will end this tour.
How deep do you think Jasper Philipsen goes? Just quickly, do you think he rides the whole Vuelta?
It just depends when he's booked his off-season holiday. If it's close to the end of the Vuelta, I think he'll be out of there. Just he won't want to be doing the Angliru. He's got what he wanted. He got that red jersey. He got the stage 1 stage win. He's come back from that terrible crash where Crookard sliced and diced him like he was doing his own surgery. But there's not much left for him to ride for, is there, Tom?
Well, I don't know. There's the final stage in Madrid. You look at the sort of the parcours coming up at a glance, and we know next week is very difficult. There's really no opportunities, maybe stage 15 if he gets over the climbs early, but there's a cat 1 literally out of the screws. There is maybe 2 opportunities in the final week. So if he's able to get himself there and be in good condition, we'll see.
Let's do our forecast and our final words of this Vuelta before we move into the second and third week. Tommy, this is Roadside presented by Zwift. So a huge second week approaches, Tommy. The GC battle is going to be shaped in this week, particularly on the Angliru, as we said, and we've got some open racing as well with some fantastic stage designs coming up. The next 3 stages, Tommy, what have we got on store?
Yeah, stage 11 on Wednesday is one to dial in for Bilbao to Bilbao. They used this stage at the Tour de France when it started out of the Basque country a couple of years ago. So it's definitely a stage to watch. Exciting, open, sort of classic Vuelta Galician styled racing. I'm really keen for this one. Obviously, stage 13 on Friday when we do our live calling, if you want to call it that, a little bit of jibber jabberish at the finish for La Angliru. The big rog dog, Primoz, he was their last victor in 2023. And then stage 14 up to La Rafapona. That's a 16.6%, 16 kilometers at 6% climb on the Saturday. It's just a long haul of a climb, but there's really some punchy gradient right towards the top. So if your legs are heavy from La Angliru and you drag them up, and then you get to the last 2 kilometers where it hits some good steep pitches, you'll be rewarded for staying up if you're on Australian Western time. So, and of course, mate, Saturday night, the mighty Fremantle Dockers should get over the Suns. So I'll slide that one in there.
He's got his scarf on, flag mantle. So there's a couple of big stages coming up that really will construct how the GC will look. Now, just before we do our final words, Tommy, for our Vuelta rest day recap, little quick question for you, which we are getting closer to the off-season, the party season for the riders. Now, I wanted to know, which rider would you want to spend your off-season with if you could choose?
Oh, if I'm feeling festive, let's say Tom Boonen, Prime Boonen. You don't know where you're going to end. You don't know where you're going to end up. Why? Who are you packing a suitcase with?
I would go Alberto Contador.
Well, El Pistolero.
El Pistolero, mate, because I reckon he would know a really good steakhouse. So Contador would be mine. We dip in, get ourselves some nice steak, untainted. We might meet you in Boonen.
He would
in the beer house.
Berto would take you to some very far-fetched corners of the world where the water authorities can't find him. So you'd see some beautiful, very quiet corners of the world, wouldn't you?
You certainly would. Now, shout-outs as well. A quick shout-out to Talia Appleton, one of the young guns from Australia, a superstar who, of course, we've been touting for a long, long time, as she's the real deal, and the next one to really go through the Women's World Tour from Australia by storm. She finished on the podium at the Tour de l'Avenir Femmes. She had a fantastic, really consistent race. And there's one thing about Talia: you could stick her in a field of 20 and you could stick her in a field of 200 and she will not care. She races the same way. She's got that edge, and obviously showing her ability to Europe teams and selectors that she deserves to be on a team next year ASAP.
Yeah, professional approach to it. Can't wait to see what she does with her career. And of course, Mackenzie Copeland, she chipped in with the top 10, which is a huge ride from Mac. She's off to the World Tour next year, stepping into the World Tour scene. So that was a big ride by her. Particularly here, she was a bit crook throughout to overcome a little bit of adversity. That's bloody awesome. And mate, finally, just before we wrap up, we just revisit the GC picks that we put Yeah, you didn't add this in. I thought I'd add this in. So you picked for the GC, the overall, you had Vingegaard winning, you copying my pick. Then you had Almeida and then Ayuso. That's obviously fallen out. So we can just put a strike through that one. I'm still alive with my podium chance where I went Almeida and Hindley on the podium in no particular order, and then Jonas winning. So just to update our listeners.
You've dug up this bloody thing. You've dug it up, and you've got Hindley in second. I've got the first two correct as it stands. Hindley's not even the top 5, and you've dug up this receipt. That receipt has been out in the sun, and it's faded. You can't even see the numbers anymore, mate. It's like a fish and chip
Anyway, it's
receipt.
been a great first 9 stages of La Vuelta Espana. We've got a big second week to come. We'll be on the tools on Friday. Make sure you join us alongside Zwift and FE Sports. Jet reckons he's going to be on the E-Ride while he's doing the calling. I call absolute bull dust on that. Any last words?
Thanks. Yeah, no, there's nothing. Let's wrap it up. Nice one, legends. We'll see you for the next episode throughout this Vuelta Espana. Thanks for listening.